just different. I am the world changer, coded by the blue storm. My number is 19, the power of all number. I am the master alchemist, the force behind the philosopher's stone. Skilled at the art of transmutation. I am the catalytic transformer of world consciousness and planetary living. I oversee the changes of the weather. I am the thunder that shatters your world systems. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies. It was I who caused the triple Aztec monuments of the Avatar archetype to appear in the ancient temple grounds. I oversee the morning and the evening stars. I behold the creator of the fifth sun, the present world. Sent forth am I to dwell among you, calling forth the sixth sun. For the great regeneration of the world's soul, to know me is to know your own power of self-generation. To know me is to know your own power of self-generation. Self-generation is power. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies.
Peace and blessing from 113 of Orisha Stone. We back tonight with Neb Teharka and the gang for another good conversation. How you doing tonight, guy?
I am amazing. I am doing phenomenally well. How you doing, God?
Man, I can't complain, man. We've been having some amazing conversations, and people been hitting me up. We elevating some thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Reminding people who they are. And I wanted to pick back up on what we were talking about last week, and I brought some brothers in. Brother Narudian baby, Omek baby.
What's going on?
Because you know he a master. We're gonna push our thought to the next level. And I also brought the brother Tension, brother from the Neverland. He's in tonight. You know what I'm saying? We the Intergalactic Empire, and I think these will be some great people to have on the panel with you to learn from you tonight and have a good conversation. So with no further ado, Neb Teharka.
All right. Oh, it's definitely a pleasure as well as a privilege to be back on here. And we have had some stimulating conversation. Honestly, some of it just goes over people's heads because we're really working with tools we got from the linear world. When I say linear, I mean, we got to do A before B before C. We have systems and programs that work a certain kind of way. And so, to disrupt that, we talk more from a multi-dimensional perspective where we're integrating the physical aspect of our being, we're integrating the spiritual aspect of our being, we're integrating the energetic light part of our being, of the self. And so what that does, it gets us to think outside of the physical limitations of the body. And so those who know me, I study and teach avidly Olmec and Galactic Mayan cosmology, and in doing so, and also being able to deal with the Dogon tribe, I found that the way they studied cosmic cycles through calendars opened up their mind to have more of a telepathic mind from my studies of them, and I got very intrigued and interested in how that could take place from studying the calendar. I just didn't get it. I was more at the time on personal growth and development, and I could focus on something and make it happen, make something happen out of thin air. But when I started studying this, I really was advancing and turning matters, matter and matters, really, and so into what matters. And so I said all of that to say this, just to set the tone for what we're talking about. Human consciousness lost in artificial time. I didn't know there was such a thing. Artificial time creates an artificial mind. What is that? We're going to talk about that. And then how do we find it? What happens when we find it? Are we more powerful? Are we more dynamic? Do we still deal with the things we're dealing with right now? So these are the things I kind of want to share with the audience and create some stimulation for thought and conversation, because the more we talk about it, the more we be about it, the more we be about it, the more we're able to demonstrate and execute on gifts and powers that we probably don't even know we have.
I
So
say,
that's what I say to start off.
I say, and I love what you said, man. We were talking the other day, and you were breaking down how the lies, how they lie and use their magic through time or the illusions of time. And me and a brother had a conversation a while back. We were like, "Yo, every 4th of July, because this ain't the first 4th of July. I don't know if it's CERN or whatever, but every 4th of July, they say we had 250 years. Because I could have sworn they said 250 years last year. But it also brings you to that line of time that if this country is only 250 years old, then how are we 500 years in bondage? I'm confused. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of lies of time, and they're manipulating time to trick everybody. And you know what I'm saying? So clearly there is some power. They wouldn't lie so much if it wasn't some power in it.
Yes.
God, no, Omac baby, please pronounce your name. Introduce yourself to the tribe. Tell us where you're from, man, and what you bring to the table tonight.
Rahul back, family. It's Natharu, baby.
Natharu, Natharu.
Yeah, yeah,
Appreciate that,
yeah,
God. You teaching me
yeah,
something.
yeah.
That's here.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we're basically gonna be, breaking it down, just like Neb said. We're gonna be breaking down the time and how we was placed under illusion, which they using the time as a spell, wave, a continuum of trying to control us and to actually prevent us from getting on the natural time, the natural nature time in which we need to be on, so we'll know where to be and where to go when the time is right for the return of the Crystal City, and just overall being back in tune with nature.
I say. Naruda.
Natharu.
Natharu. Hey, y'all.
Yeah.
Say it one more
Yeah.
time for
Natharu. The D is silent. Well, the D is silent. Basically,
And
it's Natharu.
that's what they call it?
That's it. It really means nature, baby. That's all it is. The Netaru. Those are the elements, the deities that pretty much had a major role in creation, bringing forth different elements in which we are all made of all those 99 elements. But
I said, we're gonna learn something new every day from the cradle to the grave. Man, where you from again, God?
I'm originally from Mississippi. I've been in Virginia for about 7 years.
Mississippi, stand up. All right, now we're gonna go over the pond in it to my boy in it over there, the Neverlands himself. What's up, Tension? Long time no see, God. What's good with you?
Man, I just been enjoying myself, enjoying family, and it's like seeing the Matrix show you like funny things in real time. 2 weeks ago, I was walking my dog and it was around like 90, 95 degrees there, which is like 35 to 36 degrees Celsius here in Europe. And I was seeing like a Caucasian man like walking sideways, like he's about to fall. And it's like at that same day, I also saw a brother that like looked like me in terms of skin, but he was wearing a jacket and a tracksuit in a very hot day. So it's like you see like two type of things that are very unusual that are happening at the same time that like over there with you guys, there is a lot of stuff happening as well with people losing their heads and stuff like that.
Yo, I'm glad you spoke on that because we can only watch the news and what the media puts out there. So we don't know what's going on. Because I know last year they said people got into burning up. And so that's a real thing right now. The heat messing them up over there in Europe.
Well, it has been severe because it's like For this, the people here in the Netherlands, they're not accustomed to high temperatures. For them, like 30 degrees Celsius, which is equivalent to what, like I would say 87 Fahrenheit over there, like is a lot for them. So, and the temperature here, like 2 weeks ago, it was around 39 degrees Celsius, which is like 96 degrees Fahrenheit over there in America. So for them, it was extreme heat. But for a regular black person or a person that like takes care of themselves and eats good and does inner work and all of that, like there is just the sun giving you the energy that you was lacking 10, 15 years ago when they switched up the sun. So it's like it has been very funny, like to see your progress compared to like the people that have not been doing the work and how they behave themselves during these times.
I say, man, that's deep. That's real. I love that you drew the parallel between two different realities. When they sad, we should be happy, and when they happy, we should be, you know what I'm saying, worried. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's real deep. And I love that you talked about being in tune with the sun, because yo, when the sun first comes up early in the rising, it'd be super hot, but I'll be out there with my serpents out there letting them get their sun and sunbathing myself. I be taking that information in. The sun, we got to realize the sun is the ultimate form of information and knowledge and light. You know what I'm saying? So, Neb Teharka, let's get on this timeline, man. I got a couple questions for you. I had to write them down because I had some last time I had some questions and it went over my head, man. First question I got for you: how
Okay.
is the mind influenced by time? How is the mind influenced by time?
I'm gonna start by talking about it from the proper perspective. So I want to invite the audience to look at conversations and knowledge from certain perspectives. Sometimes we kind of have a one size fit all perspective. Okay, is it feedback? Everybody, am I clear? Am I coming through clear, God?
I can hear you good.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about this from a fourth dimensional perspective, and what that means is from the etheric spiritual realm, the spiritual etheric perspective, the celestial realm. And the reason why I say that, because from the physical realm, right, it doesn't seem like it affects us because these are just numbers on a paper when we talking about calendar, and they orchestrated a calendar for the purpose. Now, when we talk about anything dealing with time in the mind, we need to talk about purpose. So the purpose of the calendar, the Gregorian calendar, is really dealing with taxation and capitalism, money. Okay. And so because they were exploring these lands and, creating all these problems and mischief around the world, okay, many people just had to go, were coerced or forced to go with this program about how they were manifesting their destiny through the expansion of the European ideas going westward. So we know Christopher Columbus did not discover America. We know all of that, right? Some of us do, some of us don't, but I'm saying it publicly. But with the Mayans, the Galactic Mayan and the Olmec, they followed. This is what got me. And I'm going to bring it to your point. They followed up to 17 different calendars at one time. And what they did is they observed the animals, the environments, and how it worked. And so once that took place, they noticed the pattern in which they thought. They became more cerebral in terms of telepathic. I'll give you an example. The Dogon, they were able to see star systems that before telescopes were even invented. You see what I'm saying? Because they were looking from within. Now, when I talk about looking from within, I'm talking about your imagination. So there's a saying that what you imagine, the imaginal world influences the phenomenal world, the phenomenal world being the physical world that we live in. So everything you see in your house, everything you see around came out of somebody's imagination. They just materialized it. So now what does that have to do with time? Well, I would say the time bandits, they created an artificial version of time that created a consciousness lock. This consciousness lock was for the building of industry for the most part, right? To punch the clock. It dealt with using the human capital, and resources to build industry, the manufacturing age, right? And so with doing that, now to be able to, for the purpose of building these manufactured ideas, you know, a different kind of time was set. And that time was based on how many things that can be completed in that industry. Well, that mechanical time has no connection to any cosmic cycle. So we can look at the Gregorian calendar, and it's only 12 cycles, right? Even in astrology, there are 13 cycles. The 13th constellation is the serpent bear, Ophiuchus, right? So what happens is that when we start thinking into a different pattern, right, our mind starts to think and formulate concepts differently. All right. So when they got us on this artificial, which is it when I say artificial, there's no connection to cosmic cycles. Like for example, the moon has a mean average. It takes 28 days to revolve around the earth, right? There's some cycles with star Sirius. It takes 52 years for Sirius A to revolve around, or for Sirius B to revolve around Sirius A. All right. There's different cycles of the galactic tree of life. There's different cycles with the 13 tones of creation. These are synonymous that you can find in the body. So when you change the pattern to something mechanical, you can see it's mechanical by what's created. Now, if you look at the world, we have something called the technosphere. We have a lot of technology, and that technology can interrupt signals that we're sending to the source of all creation. Because everything we send out, every thought you send out, every thought I send out, we're sending a message to the universe. We're sending a spiritual and equivalent, a physical equivalent frequency to be brought back to us in the physical. So when we think we're sending a frequency and then we attract it in the physical, right? The spiritual frequency, the imaginal frequency goes out, and the equivalent physical frequency come back, and these resources kind of appear in your reality. So from that perspective, right? From that perspective, when we have a time that is, or a clock or a calendar that really is not dealing with the natural evolution of the cosmos in these galactic cycles, then now the species, the human species, get put into amnesia and a feedback loop. And then this feedback loop have us reliving dramas and traumas and putting our energy and focus on that versus the evolution of consciousness. So time in the fourth dimension, watch this, is the evolution of consciousness from that perspective. It's not a mechanical clock. It's not a calendar. You see what I'm saying? It's how we evolve consciousness and create in this reality. We dreamed ourselves physical. And if we can take that perspective, our perspective on dreams change. Our perspective on what intelligence is and how and what intelligence does. Does this make sense what I'm saying? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely.
All right.
Omeg baby, what you got on that guy? How do you think the mind is influenced by time or the illusion of time?
Yeah, so your question was how does the mind tie in with time itself?
Yes, sir.
So it basically ties in by how you actually perceive time, you know. So in reality, time is not going forward, it's not going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is the whole concept of why we're aging, because we think that they got us trapped under Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so and so on, and 24 hours a day. You know, this is what's actually keeping us aging, you know, and our ancestors, the Orishas, on to the Netheru, they have accomplished what time exactly is and have actually cured the concept of aging, or which is death, which is a disease. So when it comes to time, it goes from pretty much an infant state to your maturity, then an adult. And that reflects to you start as a slave mind because everybody is telling you this, that, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to believe in this. You don't eat this, you don't eat that. We don't go over here and mess with the, so you become a slave man. And then you start getting older, when you get in your teens and your young adult age, you become a student man. You start learning things on your own and actually taking steps further than what your parents has taught you, what they have learned, and you start doing your own research. And that's when you become a full mature adult and you become a God man. You're sitting in your God seat. You perceive and understand and know things as what they truly are, as an actual fact that you can actually prove without a shadow of a doubt, instead of going by what you pretty much believe. So your the concept of time, it can be perceived in several different ways due to where you're at. You know, for as your body has its own time mechanism itself, called your biological clock, which is an independent function of what goes on outside of you. It deals with when you're going to manifest, how you're manifesting, your maturity, your DNA upgrades, the explosions, the times now. Like, for instance, the questions that you are asking, this all is in sync and synchronicity, and it was meant to be. If it didn't happen and we're not here right now, all four of us, it wasn't supposed to happen. Meaning that it was never perceived in the mind of the all for this situation for us to be sitting here as the elders or the chiefs on the land reasoning with each other. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to start off with, because it's gonna get deeper, but I'm gonna let the brother go next.
Yeah, let's go, man. I love what you said because it is right now. Everybody felt that, you know what I'm saying? Everybody felt that because we talking about everywhere all at once.
Right.
Like when we communicate with ourselves in the spirit realm, you communicate with your past self, which is the older self, which is your younger self, and you. I can't really break it down, but your mind is the real time travel if you think about it. You know what I'm saying? Your mind can go
Right.
past, present, and future. We just
Yeah,
don't
all of
acknowledge
it.
that. Huh?
Yeah, all of it is really happening right now at the same time.
At the
The
same time,
past,
we
the present,
communicate.
and the future is all happening at the same time. This is why you're able to time travel by speeding up your vibration. It's tones, it's frequencies. You say certain different chants while you're meditating, and you can travel at the speed of light. This is what you're trying to do when you're saying and these different channels. And the only thing about it is how it's set up is you can't run into yourself while you're actually doing those travels, or if you're going, traveling in the past or the future, because it's going to cause corruption on the timeline. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Man, hey, I'm gonna come back to that tension. Tagging on to what that brother just said about the meditations and things of that nature to help you, you know what I'm saying, time travel or meditate or imagine or whatever we want to call it for today's vocabulary, right? Look at that tapestry behind you, right? And you see that meditation. I like that, by the way. But you see that behind your head, right? And we talk about the Merkaba and things of that nature. I don't think we understand that they gave us the keys a long time ago, and we not looking at them and paying attention to them for real. That meditation state right there is the state that you would get into to meditate or time travel. Or to go realm travel or universe travel, whatever you want to call it for today. You know what I'm saying? But what do you got on that, guy? What do you got on time? And tell us what you hearing over there about CERN.
So about time, it's like time does not exist as we think it exists, and it's more like clocks do exist, because if you look at like the hours in a day. Like some days they can last longer, and then some nights get shorter, and then you get the inverse of that. So it's like even though we kind of like demark time with numbers and calendars and all that, it's like this actual calendar that we are using is not the most accurate one. So, and it makes people under this system, it makes people celebrate and put weight upon themselves by every year that goes by. So it's like if you still celebrate like what you call birthdays, you're just adding on to more numbers. And if you believe like that's what you will manifest, so a lot of people like they get like old because they really believe that they are their age, but according to this calendar, this is not the proper calendar that we should be using. And it's like here in my hand, I have something like as you call like Mayan calendar, but it's like we know that the Mayans were a civilization that like was here after a lot of other civilizations, and it's like um the this type of calendar I was seeing like 2 days ago in a Brazilian podcast. Like it was a person that was a part of the Mayan tribe over there, and they had a different name for this type of calendar. And in July 25th, according to them, um, in the center, as you can see here, like in the coin, the center over here, it will mark like an end of a cycle. So it's like we are in 2026 with a lot of stuff happening. We had a lot of portals that happened, a lot of things. And today, for example, we had this World Cup final between Spain and Argentina. And on top of that was a ritual done. So a lot of people like all over the world, they were celebrating and paying a lot of attention in that, like cheering and all that, giving their energy and emotions to that ritual that like was staged. And we can see a lot of proofs on the internet of a lot of people showing us proof that all of that is done before it happens in the games and stuff. So it is fixed, and a lot of people still pay attention to that and like give a lot of their emotions to those type of games. So you should be paying more attention to how you're feeling right now because we have a lot of stuff going on. So if you are still distracted by watching a lot of stuff at the same time, not using your time to sleep better, eat better, do better, and learn more, you're gonna basically be trapped by the same cycles that keep repeating themselves over and over and over again in what you call time. That is really just an illusion.
I say, man, yeah, most definitely respect. I'm glad you brought that up about the calendar because Neb Teharka was just talking about if we're gonna go back to the original calendar makers, we don't want to have that conversation. But the first ever calendar was over here in the Mesoamerica. That's why they call it the mother culture. And this is one of them. But like Neb Teharka said, there's more than one, right? Neb Teharka said they had several different calendars they went by. You see this one, Neb?
Absolutely. Ooh-wee. I can feel the frequency of that.
Yeah, they have it too. But I like the way you broke that down because God has
Mhm.
been saying it for a while when she's teaching about the matriarch calendars and things of that nature. You were breaking down that, wait a minute, and we know this by now, the Council of Cassia, the what's his name, Constantine and their council and all that, Ignacio or whatever, right? And all the things they destroyed. And the first thing they did was add days to the calendar. They subtract days and everything else. This brother just said they do rituals on certain days, whereas I've noticed that every 4th of July is actually a sacred day, but they're shooting firecrackers off when we're really supposed to be out there dancing and talking to the ancestors. But see, they're shooting firecrackers at 1, 12, 1 a.m., p.m., whatever, right? Or a.m. But if you up at 3 a.m. in the morning and dancing, there's the entity that's coming down around the same time. So what I'm saying is they know what time that our spirits are coming down and what time the spirits are good, like the veil is thin for us. That's why they set their time for their holidays to always end up on ours. You notice that the coincidence in that? Well, not coincidence, but you know that.
Mhm. Absolutely. The synchronicity in that, how it works.
Yeah. I like. Hey, I'm trying to tap in more with it because I know you broke it down from the
Yeah.
each day, each month was 28 days, which ends up being back to the 13th cycle. And why do you think they did this? Why do you think they took those days and added them how they wanted? So the whole time we thinking Black History Month, it got shortchanged the whole time. That was the realest month out the year. But go ahead though.
Yeah, it's really good too because you wanted me to go ahead,
Yeah,
guys?
yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. It's so powerful because you know, when you look at the names of the different months, I kind of went over this. I want to say it was Thursday because what I'm working on right now as a project is the days that they skip to start the calendar put us in a weekdays. And what's unique about time is really patterns, right? Because what you think, you know, drives behavior, and what your behavior is drives results. So we're talking about three different realms here, right? And so when we're talking about time from a fourth dimensional perspective, I would say that when we're talking about those 28-day cycles, everything that really moves me is connected to the human body. So those 28-day cycles are synonymous with the female reproductive cycle. That blew my mind. And then they have something called the wave spell, which is a cycle of evolution, right? In the Zocan, in the Mayan, in the Olmec calendar, and with this, every 14th day starts a new evolutionary cycle. We just start one today. The wave spell of the wind, which is the spirit. And so, with these affirmations, it's designed to trigger your mind to be thinking a certain kind of way. And so, one other thing I want to say really quickly is these patterns. You know what? The first thing that I did, and this is for y'all who are business oriented or whatever, when I started following the 13 moon calendar based on the cycles of star Sirius, one of the things, one I was a business person, of course, okay, and I was like, how does this help me make more money? And so, you know, that's where I was back then, 10 years ago. And so what ended up happening, I said, wait a second. If I start breaking my accounting system into 13 cycles versus 12, I got an extra month of income. Blew my mind. So not only did I see these 13 cycles synonymous with the female avatar, and so we're trying to fit 13 cycles into 12. So it's a wonder why there's so much disruption with the female avatar, the female body, with fibroids. I think these are all irregular cycles that we're trying to follow that's not natural for the female, right? And her creativity. And then when that's compromised, it compromises a lot of other things for the electrical beings, the male aspect of divinity, to go out and get certain things done. You see what I'm saying? And so when you see, talked about synchronicity and harmony, when those things are in sync, right? Things just naturally grow like the grass. Things just naturally happen like the seasons. The tree, the leaves come off the trees and they give all their leaves to the earth and then come back with more leaves the next spring. So it's very powerful when we look at how does these cycles affect us in our lives, but our thinking. I want to add this point. This is what I call corpus callosum development. What is the corpus callosum? It is the middle plasma in between the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of the brain. And plasma, watch this, is what? Semi-liquid electricity. Now, everything has an equation to it, right? Electricity has an equation to it. And that equation is all based on what we think about. Some of us just think about the news. Some of us just think about rap music. Some of us just think about having sex with men or women, if we're men with women, however it works, right? Some of us just think about making money. Some of us just think about whatever. So what we think about creates a code in this corpus callosum that synchronizes the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, the logical side and the emotional spiritual side. And what happens is that energy, the plasma, seeps down as plasma. They call it Christ oil, but it seeps down and lubricates each of the chakras. So we have a process where it starts with the crown chakra because you're receiving knowledge from the unmanifest, the imaginal realm. And then that goes into the root chakra and it connects to the earth. Then it comes back up to the all-seeing eye. I like to call it the all-seeing eye. I know people call it the third eye because now it creates a vision, right? And the self-image. So to be able to carry out the vision, you got to be able to have the right self-image, the image of yourself and what you're capable of doing, that you already can carry out the vision When you have the vision, you don't need to get no more knowledge because we're on a journey of remembrance. We don't really have to learn anything from this perspective. We've already done it. You see, not the Rue baby. He said, did I say it right? Not the Rue?
It's Nataru, baby.
Nataru, man, I thought I had. I will, hey, Nataru, I was over here practicing. I thought I had Nataru, baby. You know what he was talking about was very, very powerful because it's the whole concept. What our concept is. That's why we got to work from perspectives and levels of consciousness. We all ain't operating at the same level of consciousness. So what Nataru, did I say it right? Okay. And Tensei, did I say Tensei? Did I say your name right, Tensei, or no?
It's a Tensai, Tensai.
Tensai. My apologies,
Yeah.
brother. Tensai. It's talking about, we all talking about is we are synchronizing the knowledge that we have so we can advance ourselves, but we all operating from different perspectives and different states of consciousness. And as we synchronize that, we can all move forward together or not, right? But this whole plasma, when we talk about time, when we talk about the mind, how does this consciousness travel? Is a good way to see, to make it make sense. Otherwise, we just talking. You know, if I didn't have no connection to the body, it's like you this is the pseudoscience, Neb Teharka. You just talking. But where's the connection to all the different realms? You know, and then I want to say that just to finish the cycle out, you know, we go from the all-seeing eye to the sacred center, the Kundalini energy, right? The sacral chakra, where all our creativity comes in. And then after that, right, we move to the throat chakra. We speak life into the creation, right? And then and the power about speaking your vision, what time is how consciousness evolving. You to the speaking part. This is one of the first ways it manifests is through the miracle in your mouth. But if you keep your mouth closed, then it hasn't manifested. It's still in the imaginal realm. If you don't write it down, it hadn't materialized. Just see, at least if you write it down, it's materialized in the physical realm. Now it hasn't materialized as the thing yet, but it materialized as the thought, right? And then we go to the solar plexus chakra where we focus our will until complete. And then it comes into the heart. Now, the beautiful thing about the heart sends all that plasma throughout every cell in the body to change the blood quality. So if you want to be an athlete and you're not in shape, your mind starts to think it, your behavior starts to work out. And then after a period of time, you look one way and then now you look another way, you look in shape. Everything has a process, but that plasma and that code that's in that semi-liquid electricity is very important in terms of how the mind is influenced by time patterns, right? And we know the only time is really now, but what we're doing right now creates a pattern that our subconscious records. And it's like it plays it back to us, right, in the form of circumstances. It's really amazing when you understand and understand these different aspects. But I just wanted to say that it's so powerful when we started out talking about these 28-day cycles, guys. And as we see, well, how does that break down? How does that come through the body? Right? Are we going to stay on the surface or are we going to take it through the whole cycle? And so even though this may be challenging for a lot of people to grasp, it ain't challenging with practice. It was challenging for me too, but I started to practice, I started to study, I started to teach, and then I realized a different reality started to appear, and it all started with thinking driving behavior and behavior driving results.
Hey man, I love everything you just said, and it's not even hard now because you got people like Neb Teharka that's breaking it down. At first, we had to figure this out by ourselves. Now you got melanated immortals breaking this down, breaking down the calendars and everything else, and making this stuff make sense. You got Omeg baby. He's been putting out a lot of information about the Neteru and things of that nature. But I love one thing that you said because in all cultures they always talk about the top of your head for the baby head or anything. They talk about the crown chakra. They talk about the Ori energy and how that could be easily that's not protected, things can always jump down. So that makes a lot of sense. We might be just saying in different languages. One thing that I do when you said the only way you can manifest it was speaking, I don't know, because that third eye, that you said that third eye, that all-seeing eye, sometimes if you don't speak it, if you don't speak on it, and you keeping it to yourself, and like you say, if you got it's combinations you can use with these chakras, right? If you connect your heart chakra with your third eye chakra and your crown chakra, like you say, you're thinking about it all the time, meditating on something, right? And then you like visualizing it with your like you already got it in your mind, you visualizing it, and you got it in your heart. It's like it manifests right there for you. You ain't even got to speak on it. But that goes back into the tones of the higher levels of tones when it goes to the Olmec, how they move mountains with their minds and third eye and things of that nature. But everything else,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That I just want to say you're absolutely correct. My perspective was, I'm just saying, you don't got to speak it to nobody, but when you chant, when you bring it into the physical realm, not to like, if I told you my vision, then that might not be the right thing to do. But boy, if I start speaking, this is what I'm gonna do. When you bring it into the word sound and the chant, nobody has to be around, but you're in the process of manifesting it in the physical, because now it's in the physical realm, right? And
Yeah.
yes, you can definitely attract it, but I'm just telling you how to accelerate it is bringing it through that process. And they got the chakras that support you in that process, and you even got the heart that'll help you change the blood quality. So this is what your reality is moving forward.
I
It's
see.
really incredible how that happens. So that's all I want to say. Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I saw someone in the comments say they were just on their chlorophyll tea today. So most definitely talking about that heart chakra, that heart energy. What you got, Omed?
Yeah, so I want to go back to when you was talking about the firecrackers and the rituals and everything like that. Then I make my way back up forward.
Right.
But the reason why they be having you doing these type of things around 12, 1 a.m. is because it's witching hour. They don't just do rituals on certain days, but there are certain days due to them following the astrology, lunar astrology, which is in reality that's they stuff. You know, we supposed to be following solar biology, which would be referred to the Dendera, the Unet. That is the original ancient Tamarian zodiac signs, and all of those calendars that were shown is really the Dendera. You know, but that's why they do the witching around it's 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. And at 3 a.m. the vortex pretty much opens up. This is when people who have passed that particular day can ascend, and as well as disembodied beings, what they call demons and whatever you may want to call them, gauls, spirits, orbs. That's when they are able to come down. It's no coincidence that they have you at the nightclub at 3 a.m. and you drunk as a mug, falling, and they got to get you to fall so they can enter through your bloodstream. But also I had want to say the Mayans are the Olmecs. They got you thinking them that they are two different type of civilizations, but it's the same. They the same people, and the Olmecs are really the Nubans from Nuba. A lot of people forget that the lands were originally one land mass, right? So that's why that people it's so much confusion when people say, "Oh, we from over here," and then some people saying that we are from over there from Africa. Really, the land masses was really one. The whole entire script was called Tamaray before the divide. Then that's when it was called Atla or Atlan. And we still was on both sides because our land mass was on both sides of the water, which it wasn't no water in between it at first. But back to the subject, the original time was actually the female menstrual cycle, far as in the physical. That's why Neb said it ties into the moon. This goes back to the planetary cycle because there's cycles within cycles. You hear Tahuti telling you about this all the time because the planet has this planetary cycle, which is the moon going around the planet. So we used to know we didn't have to have no clock or no calendar to actually know what time of the year, what season it actually was, because we studied our women. We studied their cycles. And these days it's hard to do it because in fact they got artificial lights like computer screens, phone screens, street lights, all of this affects the original cycle. So we can't use that cycle anymore. So we gotta use what we pretty much can, and that would be the 13 moon cycle, which would be the OMAC, which is really the zodiac or the Dendera calendar, which is the solar biology. The reason why we don't use astrology is because it ties in to their ancestors. They all these names like Capricorn and all Aries. Look it up. It's Greek gods. It's not your people. But if you study solar biology, you'll know that which deity that you were born under. For example, I am born under Aset, the throne. You get what I'm saying? So this is what our people need to actually get into, and this will tie in, and that's when the 13 calendar moon magic of you following the OMAC calendar will actually start working for you, because not only are you aligned with the natural time, but you're also aligned with your ancestors. This is why you're supposed to be calling on them. This is why Neb was talking about chanting, because when you chant, you are using sacred tones and magical text or chants to actually get the things that you want manifested. And you don't have to speak it, because you have the, you can think inside of your head. You know what I'm saying? Just like when you don't have to verbally do anything, because the original language was telepathy. If you want to go back to it, you know what I'm saying? So,
hey, one thing, Chief. Well, two things. One, I wanted to show you this because they'll be trying to argue up and down, except for they can't with their own plaques.
Yeah.
They'll say, "Oh man, y'all weren't over here. This ain't from Africa. This is from right over here." And this is one of their master teachers, not Pakal. I can't pronounce his whole name, but Pakal. If you look up Pakal, he is of the Jaguar clan, and he was a genius in his own right, and an astronaut, a psychonaut within itself. But going back to one other thing, you said something that I didn't all the way. Damn, I lost that thought. You had said something out of nature of the Greek gods, and the other thing I will say is, when we say it goes to their ancestors, they really don't have ancestors, because we are everybody ancestors. A lot of them are GMO people. They don't really have ancestors. When we're talking about the Greek gods, if you look at Memnon, are you familiar with Memnon?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at Memnon or Europe, it's within itself. Europe was named after a black woman. All those so-called Greek gods are really melanated gods within themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know who? Do you know exactly who though? That's
No, I'm not arguing that part. I was just letting you know that the deities within themselves, when we say that Aries and all these different deities are their deity, it's still not their deity. They're still melanated deities. We just lost touch with all this shit really belong to us. But I mean, everything else I agree with. But when you start looking at all those deities, they really are, if you think about it, they really are melanated. If you do the research, all of those are black gods.
Yeah. What I want you to get to, just like Rod say, right? What Rod always say, they look like us, but they ain't us. So the Phoenicians was grafted from us. We are the original people of this planet, no lie. But the Phoenicians, they come from us, but they are a different stock of what you call black melanated people. This stems back to their ancestors. You get what I'm saying? We come from the star. We the Natharu babies. Then we the first creation. Then the second creation was the grafting of the Phoenicians, which the Phoenicians they mixed in and are tied with the Caucasian race, which goes to the Greeks, the Romans, and all of that. So this is why I say it still ties into their ancestors, their Phoenician gods, their Greek gods, even though they were melanated. That's a fact. But they are not the Neteru. You know what I'm saying? They are not the Etherian. They are not that's just like, okay, you go by Aries when you could be going by Tahuti. You can be going by the Orishas.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel you. We can say the same thing. Like we can say the same thing. I'm not Yoruban. I'm not Yoruba. Yoruba's not even African. They from China somewhere. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit we don't. We if you do the only reason I'm saying that because I just want to go ahead and show the whole foundation of it so we don't get too lost in the translation. But even if we say the Orisha, that technically might not be my ancestors either. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
But except for this, when you're looking at all right, so they got y'all watching House of the Dragon.
no, I ain't watching.
Now tap into the House of the Dragon. They telling on themselves on the slick side. House of the Dragon, they have an organization called the Seven. The Seven is their deities. The 7 deities that came down. If you look at them, it's the Orisha. If you look at it, I got to pull it up one of these days. But they got the Maiden, Oshun. They got the witch, Oya. They got the what they call them, the blacksmith, Ogun. They got the knight, Shango. They broke it all the way down. They have the 7. When you look at their star, it's the 7, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is all of those deities are just mimic. When you said, hey, you can call yourself Aries or you can call yourself Haru. You have to be right. It's just titles that literally is titles or archetypes of the program that you could tap into right here and now. You know what I'm saying? So foundation, basic instruction before leaving Earth, like the Bible, right? The foundation might be the zodiac for you to step on, but it's still the same way we study ancient Kemetic, ancient China, ancient Hindu. I think that we should tap in more into that because we give them too much and we allow them to have it. But really, that's our shit too. When we start taking all that shit back. But before we get too far, what you think about that, guy?
I would say that not really watching a lot of things that don't really bring me value. So it's like I'm more into healing. I'm more into being present in the moment. In like I'm not really about worry about time and like really watching a lot of stuff. I'm more about enjoying life. So it's like there's a lot of stuff that is happening right now that really makes you really appreciate life more, especially like if you start to deal with the heart chakra and connecting to your intuition, you start feeling more prone to be fluid instead of being stuck into a lot of entertainment that really does not add you no value. So it's more about enjoying times with family and being more present in the moment.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, we just having a conversation because conversation rule the nation, man. You know what I'm saying? And it helps us elevate our thought process. So when we talk about time, it kind of do like the guy said, it kind of do influence us over here because, like I said, our rituals might end up on this day, but they got a schedule for that day. And we might be confused. You know what I'm saying? Now we can say certain things don't matter and everything else, except for what do they say? I forget. They say millionaires do astrology. I mean, how do they say it? Neb Teharka? They say millionaires don't do astrology, millionaires do it, something of that nature.
They use lunar astrology.
You see what I'm saying? We can ignore it and skip around and act like everything's everything, and you know what I'm saying? That's fine for some people, but for others, if I'm not trying to just go along, you know what I'm saying? Go along with the get along gang. I'm trying to change my reality. That's why it's important. I've already created my own little universe. If you want to be a part of my universe, you got to step into my atmosphere and abide by my law and order. My what they say, laws of the universe, right?
Yeah.
I sub-law and master. You know what I'm saying? Now, in doing so, this is why it's important. By creating your own reality, by all of us by us having this conversation, you might decide, hey, I want to create my own reality. This is what I stand for, what I don't stand for, and your reality will shift literally in real time. You know what I'm saying? Now, how is that important? When you start talking to Neb Teharka and he starts saying, okay, instead of doing this on this day, we don't call it days or weeks. We call it what do you call it, Neb Teharka? We don't call it weeks. What do you call it?
Radio plasmas.
Plasma. Because after the 7 day or whatever cycle we in, are you weaker or are you stronger? You know what I'm saying? I felt that. So there's certain things like spells over here. We pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? We pay attention to every little word because we already know every word is a spell. I don't shake hands with certain people. When they got the evil eye, everything kind of matters. If when you really in this esoteric world, you got to pay attention. Or it might not be if you stuck on this realm, but think about all the rituals you're missing because we're not paying attention to the correct days. Like the brother said, we don't need to go by their calendar at all. I know when the spring equinox is, the winter solstice is, the summer solstice is. All those are times that I want to tap in. 808. No matter how they figure it out, we know that the 808 portal, the Lionsgate portal, is the strongest portal. So I want to be in tune. That's why I want us to have our own calendar so we be tuned in. Imagine if all of us tapped in on 808 and we all manifested just the intergalactic empire. 808, we just get up and always just lock in. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different things that we're missing because we don't care or we just looking past it. We just want to have fun. But Neb Teharka, what's that?
Like a few moments ago, you asked me about like what they speaking about CERN. So as you can see, a lot of people have been feeling a lot of heat during the last like 3 weeks. So and that coincides with they shutting off the CERN, which is like a big undercover or let's say shadow government entity that runs in Switzerland. So ever since they shut down the particle collider, which is basically the same thing that you can see in series like Stranger Things, that opens up dimensions to other beings from lower frequency dimensions come to our realm and affect our reality. And it's like ever since they shut that down, like we've been feeling the sun as a new sun, like a stronger sun, a yellow sun. And before, like let's say 3 months ago, you could see that the sun intensity was off. So the sun was like more white, and it's like it seemed kind of artificial because you could see like a ball, which did not look to be like very real. Because if you think about, let's say 20 years ago, you would look at the sun and like see something coming out of it, like rays and stuff, and it would make something to your eyes. So, but I would say more or less like 10 to 15 years ago, that changed. So now, ever since they shut that off, we can see that the sun has gotten more intense. That's why we're having these heat waves that has been making a lot of wreckage to all over the world. So yeah, that's what I have to say on that.
Hold on 1 second. We about to go to a quick commercial break. And then we'll get right back to it, y'all. Boom. We most definitely on fire tonight.
Yes, we are. Give thanks. Give thanks. Welcome to the space. I'm so enjoying the flow. All of you, Baba Neb Teharka, Tensai, Natharu, and definitely to you, Orisha Stone. Y'all on fire tonight. Give thanks. So this is a little break. I'm gonna bring up a few announcements. All right, so hopefully y'all can see the screen pretty all right. I'm gonna max it out. How about that? Here with Orisha Stone, aka the Sky Serpent, he has available to each and every single one of us his artifacts, his jewels, his stones, accessible to us all on the melanatedimmortals.com website. If you go there, visit the meta shop, I'm gonna tell y'all, it goes fast. So you do not want to slack in time and or space, wondering whether or not there's something there for you. There's something there for each and every one of you, us. And I'm just going to share a little bit about that right now. Okay, so if you see here, we got some new items. Some have sold, okay, or maybe just a couple. I don't know. It could be more by now. But look back there in the back. Y'all see that calendar? The same one that Tensai put up as the coin. We got one of those right here, right now, available to us. Made out of, I think it's malachite and resin. This is a sacred art that's available to us to have in our home. So you want to make sure you get there. Along with that, we got the ruby. Let me see. The Ruby Olmec figurine is not on this image, but if you go there, likely it may still be there. We've got a mask like you would not believe, an ancestral mosaic mask on the Melanated Mortals website. All these provided to us by Orisha Stone. There's an ancestral stone conscious mask made out of jade, okay? Jade, ready for the taking. Now, I'm saying ready for the taking if it's not already gone. But you need to get there like right now to get yours. We got the sheen. You see that black statue? That's an obsidian female deity. Yes, there's jewelry. In the center is the Ethiopian opal halo necklace made out of silver and quartz. Silver, gold are hot commodities, but that's my go-to because I am Ken 178, the white solar mirror. I pulse in order to reflect, realize, and order. I seal the matrix of endlessness with the solar tone of intention, and I am guided by the power of timelessness. And I'm saying all this to say, look, we here with Baba Neb tonight, right? But tomorrow night on Matriarch Monday, Orisha Stone will be featuring musician and affirmation goddess Tony Jones. So you want to make sure you are in the space tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. to hear more of all that it is she has for us in store. Also, Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment is sponsoring hosting a third annual Day Out of Time celebration, July the 25th and July the 26th. That dawning before the celebration begins, we're going to have a debt forgiveness ceremony given to us. Then we're going to break out into a lot of fun, family, friendship, flow, meditating, drum circles, natural time, natural music. Just know this is a free event. So all you got to do is get to the space, be there in time, right? And then so after the celebration, we're going to come together at Jeju Sauna and Spa. Is $40 for adults. And if you have children that's coming with you, because it is a family-oriented space, $25 for anyone that's 3 to 11. Then we're going to stay the night because you can use up your whole 24 hours of spa and sauna time for just $40. And we're going to wake up that sunrise to bring in the new cycle year. Then, if you are, I know y'all are familiar with Melanated Immortals making evolutionary changes. When High Priestess Ma'at comes in, she's coming and she's bringing the flow of what we're doing. So we now know that there are a lot of us who want to know more about what's going on, why we're here, how we're here. Ashe. So with that, okay, we have now our mimic mission flow orientation to provide to us. Ashe. I see somebody say, love her music. Yes, I love her music. Tony Jones definitely rises all of my vibrations into being all that we are as divine feminine. So July 31st, that's a Friday at 8 p.m. Y'all make sure you visit melanatedimmortal.com to make sure you're in the space. Subscribe so you can get the reminders. Every single Friday, we have Aligning with the Evolving Cycles of Time, knowledge meditation sessions at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as long as you got your name and email subscribed into the website, you're going to get the email reminders. Ashe. Then a lot of you have inquired about your galactic kin. What is it? How can I get mine? There's more than one way you can come to the orientation, or you can visit Melanated Immortals admin at Melanated Immortals, or find out Melanated Immortals to get your galactic incarnation reading or your relationship. Some of you may want to know how things are supposed to be, with you and your partners or co-workers or family members and so on and so forth. That's a good way to find out. We also have available to you Boshatelet, which is the divine feminine. We call it, it's a sisterhood of sacred power and remembrance. Also, divine embodiment. And we're having our first Boshatelet on the magnetic moon and the first magnetic tone, which is August the 1st from 7 to 8. If you want more information about that, you can email yours truly at It's actually supposed to say Yogini9 at melanatedimmortals.com. Ashe.
Ashe.
We also have brain balancing if you need that, because a lot of you have inquired on that. And then we have a lot of events that are coming up, the fall equinox and the winter solstice events. And if you need my services, I'm available to you. If you've enjoyed the videos, you've enjoyed the flyers, the slides that you're seeing in this session or any other session, I am here and I'm available to you. So with that, if you have any questions, put them in the chat and I release it back over to you. All right, y'all come on back up here.
Ashe. Thank you for a word from my sponsors. Yo, back to what we were saying about how is it important. It's important enough for them to lie about it. It's important enough for them to hide it and everything else. So it's important enough for us to, you know what I'm saying, make that personal mission to figure out what's going on and how to get back into our right frequency. Like the brother said, nature babies and everything else. Neb Teharka brought something up, and a lot of people can't have this conversation, but he can. The conversation when he said the serpent bearer. And y'all know I want to talk about that. Like, what is it about the serpent bearer? They talk about all these other zodiacs and everything else. Why did they take the serpent bearer out? And what does the serpent bearer represent? Neb Teharka.
Oh man, that I love talking about this, God, because let me tell you something. The serpent bearer, Ophiuchus, from my perspective, it's the constellation that only has 19 days in it. Okay, 19 days in it, and so they skip it. That's one reason. But you know, again, a complete circle or cycle is a complete cycle. So we don't add nothing, we don't take nothing away, because it does affect or infect other aspects of it. But the serpent bearer, now what I think that from my studies is really powerful is 19. The 0 to 19 count is the count of the vigesimal mathematical system. When I say vigesimal, I can put it in the chat. Vigesmial. It's the count. It's the 20 count, but it's 0 to 19. And this count introduces us into galactic consciousness or into the celestial realm of evolution. So according to the Hollow Mind Perceiver, there's 7 levels of evolution on the terrestrial level. Most people don't get past that. Then there's 7 on the celestial level, where we're really able to connect with the ancestors. And then there's 7 on the universal levels, where there's immortality. So again, that's a whole nother aspect. So some of these are very challenging for our brains to conceptualize, because we've been focused on the decimal mathematical system. And this decimal system is a binary code that binds us to programs. All right. So the serpent bearer is the part of this that is the gateway to the higher realms. And the serpent itself is one of the most intelligent animals on the planet, because it's able to survive without any legs, arms. It doesn't have any, I've been told, sense of smell. It doesn't have any of the 5 senses. It just focuses on, it does have to do smell. Okay, or for taste. But heat, it detects energy. And through energy is how it sheds its skin to become a higher frequency or more sensitive in these aspects to survive even more thoroughly. So I love it. But that Ophiuchus, you don't hear nobody talking about it really, very, very rare. But again, they don't want you to talk to the serpent, because the serpent has the knowledge of life that helps us remember the other aspects of how to move from sensory to extrasensory abilities. Did I answer your question, God? So that's my take on it.
Yeah, appreciation, because a lot of people don't understand when we talk about nature and everything else. We talk about the Olmec, we talk about all these different deities, and we don't want to go back to the source. The source is the great primordial mother dragon, and all these serpent dragons and serpent deities. Even over here on this, we can talk about Kemet all day and tomorrow, but over here, this is the land of the plume serpent. You know what I'm saying? All the pyramids over here were first, and they were mimicked over there over there in Kemet. So what we're doing is just like I say, learning the hidden truths. Oh my baby, what you got on that guy?
Yeah, so they pretty much removed that zodiac sign because it mirrors the Draco star system, right? It's pretty much like the hidden hand. They removing their energies from the zodiac so that you can't manipulate and tap into that frequency that they are broadcasting on, which they are using that energy, which is their signature energy, and they're using it from the mental plane to control us on the physical plane. So it pretty much deals with the Kundalini energy and the Mummy Water, which would be the earth energy rising. And this is why you see up on even on the Olmecs as well as ancient Tamarians, you see the cobra up on their headdress. It represents that they have activated both hemispheres of the brain, just like what Neb was talking about earlier, with activating the feminine polarity and the masculine polarity, and you become the God man. And they was looked at as deities in the flesh, So it's pretty much all to keep you from tapping into that certain frequency of energy and actually manipulating them and causing chaos in they world. It's just that's what they're pretty much trying to do. And it's also it ties into them removing the days, and there's quote unquote what they call leap years and stuff to try to make up for those days that they have originally took out. And it real originally the calendar was 19 months with 19 days, and each month with one month having an additional, I think it's 4 days if I'm not mistaken. 19 times 19. It was all lined up for natural nature time, 999, which would be nine ethers, the Etherians, because the whole universe is made and completed off nine. Nine is completion.
I see. I see, man. Whoa. Hey, I never heard that one about the 19 days, but that's hard. That's real hard. 10, how you feeling? What you got on the serpent bear? What they talking about the serpent over there in the Netherlands?
Well, over here they deal more with lions, like they have lions in the flag and shit like that. But I would say that about the serpent, like the rise of the feminine energy, um, like they hide a lot of stuff from us and make us like be binded in time with these calendars and like these structures that they have set up around us, around this system that like if you don't pay attention that like you are completing um a cycle, and it's like you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, not really focusing on like what you are doing. You're not paying attention that like you are constantly going to work and repeating cycles like you eat, you sleep, you go to gym or you go to the club, or then you go to Sunday on church, and that's all you do. Like you are trapped in a system like in a hamster wheel. It's like if you're still in that type of consciousness, you're not going to be able to look further. And it's like you'll figure out that a lot of the history that we are teaching in school is like basically all lies to make you a slave in the system. So with that breakage of the system, which is what we are seeing right now, um, a lot of these old ways of thinking uh, are dematerializing. So it's like a lot of us, we already surpassed that type of understanding, realized that those were lies, and we are studying more, and we are realizing that this, the way that this system was ran, it was basically by just men. So it's like even in church, like they give you like the Holy Trinity, which is basically just masculine. So the Holy Father, the Holy Spirit, and then the Son. There is no women in there. And it's like if we look at nature, we figure out that like the feminine energy is what creates everything. So how can a man basically be the creator of all when you see that everything comes from the women? So the men come from the women, the animals come from a woman as well, a feminine energy. Plants are feminine, like the ones that give fruit. So if you don't realize that, like in order to get in harmony, you have to get out of the masculine energy only and mix it up with the feminine energy. You're not going to be able to experience a better life and balanced life for yourself. So you're going to get stuck in cycles of time that are constructed artificially, not following what is natural.
I say. Man, what you got on your neck, bro? I see you blinking forever there. What you got on your neck, Chief?
Man, I got this piece. It's called The More by Orisha Stone. So yeah, that's what I got on.
How's it feel? The energy good with it?
It's like here in the Netherlands, where most of the people are so-called Catholics. They see this and they immediately ask, "What is that? Like, who made that?" So it's very interesting because they look at it like with kind of a fear look. So it's very powerful because it, ever since I've been starting using it, like I've been feeling basically a shield around me of protection to the point that like when I have it on, like nothing comes at me.
I say. My brother using it right, using it right. Naru, oh Mac baby. Man, what you got on your neck, Chief? Oh, you on mute, guy? You on mute?
I had forgot to put mine on, but I did want to show a couple of pieces that I got from you. You know,
Oh, that's hard.
real deal, old Mac baby.
Oh man, I
Yeah,
forgot you got that. You got that a minute ago.
yeah, I got that one too. You know, yeah, y'all go get y'all stones from Orisha, man. He really be putting in work, and you know,
Man, what you get? What kind of energy you get from wearing that Ruby Olmec piece?
what I feel is any type of energy someone is throwing at me that is not in agreement with, you know, for as the EY, it reflects it, you know, with the mirror piece on there, and it pretty much give me clarity, and I feel guidance. You know, it opened up my ESP, my sensory perspective of everything, and it's like I said, it's real good to, especially when you're meditating, and overall it helps you and heightens your awareness and able to receive and send information and receive affirmations. So, yeah, I appreciate your work.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, I appreciate the support.
Yeah.
Yo, Neb, I love what you said about the adaptability of the Python. How long people don't understand how like people can try to compare us to all sorts of disrespectful things, call us roaches and all sorts of stuff. But the Python been around longer than damn near anything. They've been around and survived everything with a little bit of nothing. They don't have to eat too much. They ain't got to drink too much. They conserve energy. And if we know anything about the OMAC, there's a civilization called Kalak Mul, and they teach you that we got to pass this energy just like the serpent keep going from hand to hand. And this feminine, like the brother just said, most of my pythons are feminine pythons. You know what I'm saying? That's the one that creates everything that you that you want to get about the different kind of combinations of things. You know what I'm saying? So with that, what you got before we get out of here, Chief?
Well, I tell you, you talking about me, right?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay. I'm just in awe of the knowledge of Nataru Baby and Tensei. I when we talk about we all at different levels of consciousness, there are different angles or angels that flow, and I just when you listen with the ear of your heart, this is how we are able to advance our mind. Um, and without that heart space, the mind becomes very, very chaotic and egotistical, etc. Um, in talking about time and coming from the perspective of time being the evolution of consciousness. So now we got to go to purpose. I would love to see Tensa's kin number and Net the Rue Baby kin number, because what I have found is that there's one thing about knowledge, but I look at it as knowledge is just potential power. Applied knowledge, how we apply the patterns, how we apply the steps is going to determine what we create. And so, also in the uh, Olmec cosmology, mimicked by the dream spell, you actually are now taking your energy factored by the evolution of consciousness time, and you get art, what you create. And look at the art that I can't wait to get down there. I'm trying to see if I'm going to come down there. I'm probably going to pick up a couple pieces just on the website before I get down there to Orisha Stone. But it's the application. We a lot of times we have enough information, and it's fascinating. It's intellectual. It's all these different things. But how do we put it into work into this particular material plane? Or I like to say gravitational plane, and use it to experience a physical life by design, but not by default. The default programs expire, and this is why these calendars are artificial, and they have us operating with just a limited physical reality. But what about the spiritual? One of the questions that I saw up there was, well, how does your intuition speak to you? Through your heart. You'll feel it. And most people don't follow their intuition. But that's the spirit, etheric realm speaking to you and saying, no, we're going to evolve what you got going on physically by doing this. And a lot of times we say no. And the reason why we say no is because the spiritual consciousness that intuition is coming from a higher state of consciousness than how we operate in that moment, from my perspective. Now, one of the things that I want to challenge everybody to really think about is that scientists say we have over 100 million years of memory stored in our brain. And I'm not convinced anybody I've talked to in these 10 years, I haven't met anybody that's operating on 100 million years. I really, I'm just now figuring out what that could possibly look like. But what I'm finding, because of AI, no matter how much we talk about this, we're influenced by these smartphones, we're influenced by artificial intelligence, which is reducing our drive and our enthusiasm to remember, right, the totality of who we are based on the perspective of the source of all creation. So if the source of all creation, that means our creation, right, is influencing our behavior, why would that take place for us in this moment? Why would it take place for me to say what I'm saying? Why would it take place for us to all come together? You see what I'm saying? And it really is based on purpose. You know, I love it in the DNA. We got 23 chromosomes that are female, and we got 23 that are male. And let me tell you, when we get in sync within ourselves, we're able to develop. One of the things that I teach very heavily is the holographic universe. So what are you going to experience in your holographic universe? What you perceive is what you receive in your reality. So what do you want to receive? We know what Orisha Stone is. He got jewelry and serpents. You see what I'm saying? So now it goes beyond what your perception is what is the purpose and what do you receive from that purpose in this reality based on your assignment for your incarnation. So I love that Mimic is doing incarnation readings. I definitely like to look at the different patterns, the different dynamic frequencies of light in the tonology. Because I'm gonna tell you this, a lot of us deal in lackology. So we'll get on here and talk about this, and then get off and start talking about everything lacking, everything that's happening that we don't like. And so that puts us in a certain frequency, a certain pattern to create more of that subconsciously. So I just wanted to say, in my closing remarks, that I'm so glad we're talking about time from a different perspective. Now, there's one thing that I can tell you that in this download, as I'm addressing Netheru baby and Tenza. I'm addressing the 10 days that they skipped, because what I did is I re-engineered the Zolkin calendar and the synchronometer that synchronizes the 13 moon calendar and the Zolkin calendar on what it would have been in 1582 when they skipped the 10 days, to see what consciousness was overlooked. And so when I looked into those 10 days, now we're in the 10-day period right now. We're in the we're addressing the aspect of the spirit right now that was tainted. So it's like we traded in spirituality for religion. And now look at what we got. Look at the control mechanism. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about abundance. So these states of consciousness that were skipped were designed, from my perspective, to help us to go back within, so we won't go without. And so now this is perpetuated forward from 1582 till now. The human consciousness hadn't changed a lot. But what you have seen that really has evolved in a great capacity is artificial intelligence, computer systems, industry, all this kind of stuff. But what about the human mind? So I think we have a mastermind right here that can take our different angles and put them together and create something that advances us in ways we never have advanced physically before. And so, brother Kid Orisha 113 Stone, I'm glad you're putting this together. We can talk about these things and vibe and figure out how to put together the synergies so that we can advance together if we choose, or even separately in some ways. It fluctuates. But this has been phenomenal, and I'm just so impressed with the knowledge base of everybody on here. And I look forward to speaking further and working with you more closely so that we can actualize and not just conceptualize what we're talking about.
Yes, sir. We always trying to bring some useful information, something you can take back and do some research on and empower yourself. I like when you said, I'm not trying to convince nobody of nothing. This is for the people that we have our own space. I don't know. I don't understand people that if they tuning in and they ain't with it, I don't know why you're here. You know what I'm saying? Only tune in if we're on the same page, the same frequency. Brother Ten, he over there in the Netherlands, and this brother's always putting out some positive information. And I like the fact that he be tuning in way over here to the Americas, trying to see what we got going on. So we, like I said, we the intergalactic empire. You know what I'm saying? Omek baby, you know what I'm saying? He been doing his thing for a minute with that Ansar community knowledge and all that information he's been putting out there. So I definitely love putting him out there, and I love connecting y'all too, because y'all both masterminds. Most definitely tap in with Melanated Immortals, Neb Teharka, and yo, man, we got a lot coming up. We got something coming up with Young Elder. We're gonna have Young Elder and Mama Kali back next Tuesday. And man, we just got a bunch of shows. Just tune in, man. I don't got to tell y'all who's gonna be up. Just tune in. So I appreciate everybody in the chat as well. Omek said that our original language was telepathy. You know what Sultan said? He trying to talk to y'all right now. You know what he's telling y'all? He said, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Subscribe, all that. Outside of that, man, y'all got anything before we get right? We still got about 20 minutes before it shut down. But does anybody got anything before we get out of here? What you got coming up, Matt?
Yeah, so like we said, we was talking about, time, and breaking down what is time and everything like that. We already touched on how you have your own biological clock and everything like that. But I also want to break it down on how time also has to do with your metabolism as well, based off of your adrenaline, when things happen in your life and your heart start racing, this also changes your perspective of time, and you start receiving images at a faster pace. This goes back to when you're having fun, time flies. But when you're at work and you're on the clock or something like that, and you ready to get the hell up out of there, the shit seems like it's going slow, And then when it comes to, I'm gonna give another example. when you look at a gnat steady flying around your face, and it's going fast, 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 and it's hard for you to actually grasp and perceive it. It's because their perception of time, which would be still considered consciousness, is different from ours. Where we see them moving fast, they look at us as we are like we're not moving at all, like we at a standstill. This is how slow and we look to them based off of how they perceive things, And also there's what you call lost time, just like we was talking about how they removed the time and which was to actually throw us off of the original natural time. And this happened because of them experimenting and actually doing time travel, in which they didn't actually successfully do it as our ancestors was able to do it. And also as well as the type of food that you're eating. If you're out of shape, this interferes with the flow of oxygen enriched blood that goes to your brain, and this in turns make your inside internal clock suffer, which again it slows down your metabolism, and then it also slows down your timing, and then going back to what the brother was saying in the Neverland about how the woman is, they always talk about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Who you think the Holy Ghost is? It's Ghost Station. They took the woman out of the picture. You know what I'm saying? And the complete or holy name or sacred name of what you would call the heavenly one, or what people be saying the Most High, would be a Nere, because that's the only complete name that includes both masculine and feminine polarities, and actually putting them together as a harmonious divine union. When you look up in the stars at nighttime, you see the different galaxies, you see the sun, you see the moon. These are all uh ways for you to be able to understand and see pre-existence, existence, creation, recreation. So, and that ties back in to time by letting you know that it's just like Neb said, it's a holographic universe. The universe is nothing but a internal divine consciousness. That's what it's pretty much all is, and we are incarnations of that same thing, going back to our mother and father, which will be the physical manifestation of what is a Nere, which is the ruling father, the triple darkness of and manifestation of the divine mother, which is the womb, and the living flesh, which will be the son. This is your title.
I shall say.
Yep.
Man, that's powerful, brother. That's powerful. Ken, you got anything before we get out of here?
I would say that regarding to health, which is the thing that we are constantly uh, getting into know like how to do better in terms of like eating better, not eating these poisons that we're now finding out that like are really just poison. Like for example, the chicken that you buy at your supermarket right now is like a lot of people have been showing us that we shouldn't be eating that. Chemical still is one of the things that like most people eat, and it's like drinking water, for example. Like we see now that with the rise of data centers, even here in the Netherlands, they are also like announcing a lot of water shortages in some cities that like are always irrigated. So, and even here it's very strange because the whole country is just basically flat, and you have like water all around, but they still like are fooling people saying that like we have a drought, so it doesn't make any sense. But it's like we gotta get prepared because they are now like implementing all these data centers to build these cities that like are just basically prison smart cities right now. And it's like if you're not aware of what's going on, it can be really difficult for you to maintain and like go to the next level. So we gotta be aware and take care of. It's a thing that we should be paying a lot of attention and getting out at the sun, enjoying the sun. Like they're putting a lot of these chemtrails that have been covering our sun like in these past like 3 or 4 years. So right now we should be like getting more in tune with nature, eating a lot of fruits, fasting, avoiding heavy stuff in order to us to feel like better and think better and act better. A lot of deworming, parasite cleanses, so we can get like to the next level without like too many implications. Because we now see that according to the script that they showed us like at last year, after the World Cup, they are planning to release some kind of pandemic. So we gotta be looking out like for those things in order to maintain and like be at balance.
I see. I see. Man, this was a powerful one, man. I appreciate you, Ten. Most definitely, because you be putting on for us on the other side. A lot of people rock with us on from the Netherlands because of you. So appreciation for you and your support, guy. I gotta always make a habit of people that support. I always try to bring them, you know what I'm saying, see what I can do to support them back. Neb Teharka, I appreciate you and everything you've done. You are no melanated immortals. They most definitely appreciate everything you've done. So I want to keep doing something like you said. We're gonna do a series of this, trying to keep going further and further and pushing it to the next level. You know what I'm saying? I just thought in general, there's nothing wrong with thinking and having serious conversations. They got a lot of people in clown mode right now, and I ain't here for the entertainment. I'm trying to learn something to try to, you know what I'm saying, take us to the next level. You know what I'm saying? The whole point of it is become your highest version of yourself. Like you said, you always look at these pythons, and these pythons always shed. They shed once a month. That means they become something better. They become the high version of themselves once a month, and give me a hard time too. But yeah, when outside of that, man, Neb, you got any last words before we get out of here, T?
Yeah, let's keep this flowing. I like what you talked about the series, and it's hard to talk about all this stuff in an hour and a half with the deep and vast minds that we have on here. And so, let's get together. I definitely want to get with Netaru baby and 10 online so we can see how we can vibe and accelerate things. Same thing, we've been talking. Element, I like calling you Element 113. This is something unexpected about to happen. But this whole process about time and developing this school, the last 3 years I've been developing this school, the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment. And it really has a place and a space for those master teachers like yourself to really, integrate what you know and what we know in terms of collective consciousness to bring a new, it's really not a new, it's something we already been doing, we just forgotten, but bring back to and forward to our people, the melanated people, so that we can advance ourselves, because we stuck in this feedback loop. You see what I'm saying? Based on these limitations of physical realm, we need every aspect. We need all hands on deck in order to advance and not just be talking on here. I'm talking about you seeing shifts happening on the planet. Last thing I want to say, the telepath. I want to give a shout out to the Telepathic Remembrance Group. We started a group, a Telepathic Remembrance Group, back 3 years ago. Actually, this is our 4th year that we did this summer. We did this group and we practice remote viewing. We practice retrocognition as a group now. Precognition, where we can predict what's going to happen in the future. And this is how we really become attuned to this holographic universe. And everybody is it. We don't have to worry about the world like that. We can, because we are masters of the universe. And as we overwrite the programs of the world, we can influence as we move up these states of enlightenment. 750,000, 7.5 million people that's operating in the lower energy fields at one time. You see what I'm saying? But it's all about, every time we elevate our consciousness, we elevate in the collective consciousness. And now we're able to have a different experience collectively as we co-create on this planet. So I'm very excited about just what I'm hearing. And I want us to continue to focus And so let's lock arms. I definitely want to get with you guys offline. If you just give me your email or whatever, however you want me to contact you. And so let's see what we could do because we got things in place. Now it's time to advance. Love it.
I say, man, we're about to get out of here. I appreciate you holding space, sitting down and talking to us, especially with the vast amount of information you have, and make it easy to have these conversations. So, and like I said, I appreciate 10. Old McBaby, appreciate y'all for, you know what I'm saying, being big supporters and always rocking out with me. So with that, got us move. We can get out of here, man. Until next time. Adabu. I say.
I looked inside and realized everything in life is intertwined with divine orchestration. Many revelations I've seen have led to persuasions of consciousness elevation, and it's all cause of meditation. See, we slaves in the system, though simultaneously we gods in training that keep maintaining or constraining ourselves to attain new inspiration. Check it. Deoxyribonucleic acid. Your DNA contains within it ancient wisdom that can flow through every facet of your mind, of course, your divine, of course, and all your ancestors' experiences are embedded within the fabric of your essence, and it's a blessing, but yet you stressing because you look for solutions externally. You fail to realize all the answers to your questions lie internally. You need to meditate to activate your DNA and watch how you acclimate your demon ways to the truth, young God. Now on the count of 3, we about to elevate your DNA to a whole nother level. 1, 2, 1, 2.
What up, Kyle?
3, 3. Humans, gather around and hear the sound. Let's go. My DNA activated, yo. Now my ego is mutilated, yeah. Got my spiritual elevated, while my physical meditated, yeah. My DNA activated, electromagnetic light, double helix to 12 strands, I've tripled my sight. I see fire inside my soul, I spit fire through every letter. Desires to get higher, then turn me to something better. Like the shredder, I be shining on these ninja turtles, but I'm Master Splinter, where the fuck my ninja turtles? Check my team, we the bomb, we glowing like we neon. Dope music, what we beyond, we infinite and beyond. Metatron's cube, hated on me transforming. See, we came to spread the love and it's going forward. Now get ready, humanity, we gon' heal the insanity. Blending fire with your soul, this travels through your anatomy. You can't body me, my mind crystalline, homie. We are one, we all connected, but I'm one and only being. Every bobbing and weaving is light, I'm perceiving. They got me achieving my purpose with reason. I'm feeling this peace, I'll be killing this cause my DNA